Welcome to Coach Bennett's podcast, where every run has a purpose, where kindness is hardcore, where this is about running, and this is not about running, where every starting line is a finish line in disguise, where rambling still gets you where you need to be, where pineapple will never ruin your pizza, and the sodas, adult and not adult kind, are always cold, and where there is room on the starting line for everybody. I'm Coach Bennett. Thank you for letting me be a part of your day. Let's get started. Welcome to episode 124 of Coach Bennett's podcast. That's right, 124. For some reason, that just sounds great. I know last week was 123, and I made a big deal about 123, but 124 just sounds like a lot. It sounds like way more than any of the other numbers that came before this. Isn't that weird? How numbers operate? I don't know. Maybe it's not weird to you. It's weird to me, so it's weird to somebody, right? So anyway, this is episode 124 called Moving On, once again, an episode inspired by all of you. And this one is going to be about that period of time after you've achieved a goal, or you've made your attempt at the goal, or the training cycle is done, or maybe you got sick, you got injured, and you had to put the goal down. Or maybe you just said, enough is enough. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm moving on. So then what? Because I'll tell you what often happens is, well, we feel lost. And we're going to talk about why that is, and we're going to talk about how we can handle it a little bit better so we can keep moving forward when we are moving on. See what I did there? And we're like a minute, maybe 2 minutes into this thing, and I'm already coming up with little witticisms, and I'm not even sure if that's a word. I think it is. I'm not going to look it up, though, because I don't have my dictionary handy, and I don't really care, because people make up words all the time. All right, sidebar here. Does anyone else loathe certain made-up words? There are certain words that are made up that I love, and there are certain ones that I loathe. I'll tell you the ones that I'm not a big fan of. Maybe loathe is too strong of a word, but it's a great word to use. I don't like the combo words that have to do with size. Like, I don't like ginormous. I'm not a fan of that at all. And this, look, if you use the word ginormous, I have nothing against the person using the word. I just don't like the word. Like, gigantic and enormous are such great words. Why do you have to smush them together? And now they're both just gross. Ginormous. It's a terrible word, And there are lots of things like that in life that on their own, amazing. Put them together, disgusting. Like, I have this argument with Daniel the engineer in the past, which if you've done some of the runs, you heard this. It was about pancakes. Chocolate chips, great, okay? They're fantastic. M&Ms, fantastic, right? But when you put them in pancakes, it's just gross. Now, I don't enjoy the pancakes as much, if at all, and I'm not even enjoying the chocolate chips or the M&Ms. What are you doing? In the opening salvo for this, we talk about how pineapple shouldn't be on pizza. Like, well, I'm not even a big pineapple fan. There are moments, though, when I'll have like a piece of pineapple and I'm like, this is pretty good. And then I have like 2 or 3 and I'm like, I don't need another piece of pineapple for a year. But pineapple on pizza, like, what are you doing? But we don't need to get into that. I know that's a hot button topic for some people that have disgusting taste buds. But the point here is we're going to talk about moving on. So we're going to move on from what we just talked about. And like I said, this is inspired by all of you. So many people have been finishing half marathons, 10Ks, 15Ks, marathons. Some people are dealing with having to adjust their goals. And yes, sometimes that means they have to change their goal dramatically. So they're moving on from what they were working towards now towards something new that they're working on. And sometimes, like I mentioned, it means you're just dropping the goal. You're ditching it. You're leaving it behind. And even the terminology we use to describe what we're doing can often seem so negative, where I'll tell you what, from a coaching perspective, sometimes the most positive thing you can do is drop a goal, ditch a goal, leave it behind, stop chasing it. Now, that doesn't mean you stop moving forward. It doesn't mean you stop chasing after another goal or will eventually go after new goals. What it means is this one is just, it's no longer a goal of yours for a variety of reasons. It could be the case. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And my first piece of advice here, all right, is simply when you're moving on, and we'll use the example of people that just finished training for a race. They just had the race, they crossed the finish line, they may have had a medal put over them, they're wearing it around. Maybe it's one of those races where they give you like the astronaut blanket and you're walking and you're, it's just amazing. And there's, tables full of bananas and there's all these volunteers and they're cheering for you and you're emotional and you're banged up and you're tired and there's another banana somebody's giving you and wow, there's bagels. It's always plain bagels, right? And the funny thing is about that is if ever there's a moment when a plain bagel won't hit, it's probably right after you cross a finish line. 30 minutes later, sure, you've had some water, maybe you had some of that Gatorade, but right when you cross the line, I'm telling you, the mouth doesn't want a bagel. So if you have a race, have the bagels a little further down the walkway. Don't have the first thing post-medal be a bagel because you're like, I just finished running. I need liquids. All right, I need some type of hydration so I can get this bagel from the potentially rock-like substance it has become over the few hours waiting for runners to get to this table into a soft type of substance so I can get it down my throat and into my tummy. You know what I mean? So just please give me something to drink first. So that's just little note there for race directors. If you're kind enough, and it is a kindness, to have some bagels for people, have them just a little further down the walkway. You know what I mean? And maybe think about having a couple of types of bagels. I know the easiest thing to do is just to do plain. So now I'm asking for stuff, and I shouldn't be asking for anything because it's really cool that you have anything afterwards. But I will say, I know I'm probably going to be in the minority here, but an everything bagel, come on now, a good everything bagel? Oh, tough to beat. Maybe not the ideal stack of bagels post-race for the majority of runners, but I'll tell you what, you're going to have one runner with an awkward mustache that is going to be very, very happy if you have that as an option. All right, so anyway, my point here is after you get through this, walkway of awesomeness that is the post-finish line, and you celebrate with friends or family or teammates, and you enjoy the post-race meal and the post-race sleep, and the next day the post-race hurt, which is so satisfying sometimes, just being sore and banged up for a reason that is great, because so often in life we are sore, banged up, fatigued, tired, exhausted for reasons that don't fill us up. But a race should fill you up with so many good things: joy, pride, confidence, satisfaction, happiness, all of these things because of the effort you gave, not just on race day, but all the days leading up to race day. So when you get through, I'm so sore and so happy and beat up and so proud, suddenly you can feel like you're adrift, that you're lost. This happens so often to runners after they've run the race that they've been training for weeks, months, maybe even years. It is very common. Interestingly enough, my wife, Tammy, who's known as Coach Bennett, the grader, she tells athletes that she works with to pencil in this time after you take on the race or the big goal, to plan for it that feeling of being adrift, being lost, the blues that you get, the emotional hangover that can occur after you have achieved or gone after and attempted this great goal. And it makes sense. I mean, if you think about it, you have this long period of time where you're training. You've got a goal. You've got a focus. You've got a direction. You have a purpose. There is momentum. There are challenges that are put in front of you each and every day. Decisions you make have consequences. And again, sometimes this can seem like, wow, that sounds like a lot of pressure. Yeah, well, you're trying to do something extraordinary. There is pressure there. Are you going to do the work that's needed? Are you going to make the sacrifices you need to make? Are you going to, be able to rise to the challenges that this challenge is going to present day in and day out? And that's part of why you do it. You want that focus in your life. You want that purpose in your life. You want that momentum in your life. You want those challenges in your life. You want progression towards this goal, this challenge, this potential achievement, accomplishment. You live with butterflies and having to deal with self-doubt. You have to acknowledge some of that progression. You have to experience that success. You have to deal with setbacks. It's invigorating. I mean, it is a life fully lived when you are committed to taking on an extraordinary goal. So when it's done, think of all that is seemingly missing from your life. That direction, that challenge, that question each and every day. Am I going to do what I need to do? The day after, you can start thinking, today I don't have any of these things. It's gone. And you miss it. Now, you may not realize all of this is going on. So this feeling of being adrift, of lacking focus or purpose, of really being down, you may wonder what's going on. Well, that's why I love the fact that Coach Bennett the Greater just says, hey, this is going to be, most likely, a part of post-race. So just plug it in there. And if you don't experience much of it, okay, that's fine. You may not experience any of it, okay. But if and when you do, you're prepared and you're ready to give yourself the grace to deal with it, the time to process it. You allow yourself to feel that way because it's okay to feel that way, just like it was okay to feel like you had a goal and a purpose and you had a drive. You have to let the pendulum swing both ways, my friends. So just something to think about. Spend a little time where you are with what you've done, all the work that you've done, before you start to head to where you're going or start what you want to do next. So I think it's a great idea, and I'm totally lifting it from Coach Bennett the Greater. Put in that time, post-goal, post-race, post-training cycle, post-attempt, to feel the feels, and just be there. It's a great opportunity for you to just be there and think about where you were, how far you've come, how you got to here. It's an opportunity to celebrate all the work you've done, all the minutes, the meters, miles that you've run, moved to get to here, all of the work, the training that you've done to get to here. It's an opportunity to celebrate yourself. And it's also an opportunity to look back and say, what did I learn? How did I get better in ways beyond just going faster, going further, building endurance, building speed? How did you get smarter as an athlete? How did you get better as a coach? And you realize how valuable this experience is to look back, learn from mistakes you made, acknowledge setbacks that you had. How could you get better? Where were you weak? What were some of your weaknesses? Which is awesome. Embrace your weaknesses. What were some of your strengths? Celebrate those things. This is an opportunity to do all that. So don't be surprised post-race, post-training cycle, where you're suddenly, I don't know what I should be doing. I feel lost. Okay, that's fine. It's okay to be lost. It's okay to be adrift. It's okay to be emotionally hungover. Pencil that time in, like Coach Bennett the Greater would, okay? It's also a great opportunity to remind yourself you're more than a runner. I know it sounds crazy coming from a running coach. You'd think I'd be like, no, you are only a runner. Your entire identity revolves around running. No, that's not true. And if you want to run your best, you better make sure you realize you are more than just a runner. Because one, your running can benefit by things you do that maybe you're looking at and say this has nothing to do with running. I bring up all the time how I think readers have a great opportunity to become better runners if they consistently read. It helps you focus. It builds your imagination. It makes you more empathetic. It can inspire you and motivate you. It's a great way to relax. And when you're relaxed, you're more likely to recover. You become far more interesting on a run to other people, but also to yourself if you're well read. So reading can help your running. I'm bringing this up because when you are moving on from what you were just moving towards or achieved or accomplished, this is a great opportunity for you to have some downtime, some recovery time, where you can start doing some of the things that maybe you weren't able to do or weren't able to do as much when you were so committed to this goal or during this training cycle. You are a movie lover, but most of your time was filled up with work or school and running and training and stretching and strength work and all this stuff. So you know what? There's a whole queue of movies that you have not seen. Fantastic. Or maybe there's a class you would like to take, but you know what? That class you weren't normally able to take during this training cycle or during this training period or during this time that you were training for whatever that goal may be, because you usually ran in the afternoon. Well, now you don't have to run in the afternoons as much. Now there's an opening to take this class, to learn, to expand your horizons. Maybe now you get to travel. Maybe now you get to take on some extra shifts at work so you can have a little bit more money. There are all of these things that you can do during this downtime, this time of moving on from what you were doing to what you're going to do next. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. I always tell people, when you really get into like the meat and potatoes portion of your training, running can almost take over your life. And sometimes that's kind of fun. But if you truly let it take over your life, it's detrimental, not just to your running, but also to your life. So allow this to be something that reminds you have other interests. There are other things you are good at. There are different things you would like to be involved in that maybe you couldn't have been involved in to the levels that you would like to have been involved in when you were training so much or so committed to this other goal, whatever it may be, a 15K, a 10K, starting running, a marathon, whatever it may be. For me, it was the ability to do other sports. And I would limit the amount of time I could do those other sports by the amount of time I was doing running. And a lot of times I was just too fatigued to do some of these other sports. But now that I'm in an off season or in between seasons, now that I'm moving on from what I just did, here's an opening to get back and enjoy those other sports. And I'll tell you what, if you can stay athletic, if you can become more athletic, then you will become a better runner. Better athletes make better runners. That's just the way it is. So now if it's a time where you can go and play some football, global football, if you can play some basketball or tennis, do it. Go for it. Take advantage of that side-to-side movement, that starting, the stopping, the explosiveness, because you will become a better athlete, and by becoming a better athlete, you will become a better runner, or at least someone that has the potential to be a better runner when they take on whatever that next running goal is. So remind yourself that you are more than a runner. And during this time of moving on, which may mean no running at all or very limited running, you're not falling behind. I want you to remember that. You're not falling behind. A lot of times, athletes will say, I have to immediately go into the next thing, because if I don't, I'm going to lose fitness and I'm going to fall behind. Remember, there is a period of time after every run, after every hard workout, after every race, after every effort, and yes, after every goal that is attempted or race I think I've said that twice now. Well, I should say it twice. The body needs to repair itself. This is a concept that athletes get when you get really deep into the weeds, where you say, hey, you just did a run, right? Yes. Okay, should we do another run right now? Athletes are like, no, I just did my run. I have to now recover. I'll do another run tomorrow. Oh, so the reason why we're going to wait till tomorrow is because you think you need to recover from this run, right? And the athlete would be like, I don't think that. I know that. I mean, we have to recover. I just did a run. Now I have to recover from the run. Right, great. I agree with you. Okay? No, I don't normally have this conversation because an athlete would look at me and be like, I thought you knew what you were talking about, and now you're freaking me out. My point here is, for this podcast, it sounds ridiculous. Wouldn't it if a coach was like, oh, I just thought we just did a run. We should just do another run. No. But when you finish a training cycle, when you finish what you've been going for, like here's the race on my calendar. We'll just use the one that I just was at, Chicago Marathon, and it finishes, and it either goes the way you wanted it to or it doesn't go the way you want it to. And I say, all right, you need to take some time. You need to take some time, some down time. And the athlete's like, well, when can I start back up? We're asking the wrong questions. We're asking the wrong questions right now. It's not about when you can start back up, because I don't know. I don't know. I just know it's not right now. And that's all we need to know. You need the downtime. And I can see in the athlete's eyes, they're concerned, well, the more downtime I take, the farther behind I will fall. Well, not exactly. If you take the downtime you need, you're not falling behind at all. Not at all. If you don't take, sure, there are potential situations where if you take too much downtime that you don't need, yeah, you're going to lose some fitness, absolutely. But here's the thing. If you don't take the downtime you need, not only will you lose fitness, you will not gain fitness from your running. You will burn out, and we will not even have the possibility of you getting to where you could conceivably go, because you will not be able to run yourself out of the hole that you have stayed in and then dug even deeper, because there is a hole every time after you give an effort. Sometimes it's not a very deep hole. It's like a divot, like on a golf course. Sometimes it's like a sinkhole, that you find on YouTube and freaks you out. You spend the whole day thinking like, geez, there could be a sinkhole anywhere, and you're just terrified of just like the ground. Yeah, sometimes that's the hole after an effort. And if you don't fill that sinkhole up properly, it's just a giant sinkhole. And sometimes if you don't fill it up at all and you think, I'm just going to run my way out of it, you're only going to increase the depth of the sinkhole. And I don't know where it goes, but I've seen enough movies, and it's never a good place. It's usually like weird, like dragons or dinosaurs down there. It's never good. Or there's some guy who like built some type of like a digger, and he was able to get down there, and he has his own little kingdom, and he's a total bizarre weirdo. My point here is, you don't want to keep going into this hole because it never ends well. You want to allow yourself to come out of the hole. And the best way of doing that is to fill up the hole. And that takes time. And you have to put stuff into it, like good sleep and laughter and great meals and mental recovery and emotional recovery. All of these things have to go into the hole to fill it up. Because the last thing you do is you want a whole bunch of holes around all over the place. That's not good either. So I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I got thrown off by going into the center of the earth. But the point is, you need to know you're not falling behind when you're taking the time you need to recover from whatever it is you just gave. Another thing that seems like, well, this is obvious, is before you move on to something else, make sure whatever you're moving on to next is something that excites you, okay? You should be excited about what's next. And you have to come back to this during that downtime when you're moving on, okay? To ask yourself, is what's going to be next something that I'm still excited about? Because we will often plan something for next, even though right now isn't even done. We have a race that we're training for. I've already scheduled another race. Come back and ask yourself during the downtime, do I still want to do this? Because you might not, and that's okay. If you want longevity in this sport, you need to keep finding things that excite you. Keep finding things that challenge you. Keep finding things that fill you up, which means you got to keep asking yourself, does what's next do that for me? Because maybe you did Chicago and you say, you know what I want to do? I want to do a spring marathon. And that sounded great about 2 months ago, didn't it? It sounded pretty good a month ago. Right now, you're not so sure. That's okay. It's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of curiosity. You're asking yourself, do I still want to do this? That's a great thing. That's what a coach would ask. Before we start training for something, before we invest a lot of time, a lot of effort, well, it makes sense to ask, do we want to invest in this? I mean, seriously. Because here's the thing, there may be something else you'd rather invest in that really excites you. Maybe it's not a spring marathon. Maybe you want to try indoor track, you rock star. You filthy little animal. You want to do indoor track, some punk rock track and field. You are nasty. I mean, look at you spending all that time on the roads, and now you want to hit the boards. You want to go indoors, 200-meter tracks, banked, loud, fast, crazy, out of control. Oh, I love it. Why not? Because here's the thing. If you keep finding things that excite you, that really motivate you, maybe scare you a little bit, that are going to be a great challenge, you're going to keep showing up. It doesn't mean that there aren't times in every single goal, no matter how much it excites you, that it's not slog and drudge. That's how it is. I imagine even the greatest, biggest, best rock stars aren't always super thrilled that they have to do a sound check. I'm sure they're like, really? Do we need to do this? I need to show up 6 hours before the concert, plug in, strum my guitar. We're going to play 3 different songs. We're going to go test, 1, 2, 3, test, 1, 2, 3. Oh, are you kidding? And here we are. I don't even know what city I'm in. I just want to play for the crowd. Well, if you want to play for the crowd, you got to make sure your instruments work. You got to make sure the levels are right. You got to make sure that on this new stage, which is not the stage from yesterday, that the lighting is right. You have to make sure that when you plug in and it's time to go, that it's the best possible show you can give, which means we got to do a sound check. So yeah, there are going to be moments in every goal, no matter how exciting they are, that are going to be slog and drudge. Fine. The point is, the goal itself shouldn't be slog and drudge. And I think that's a good test. When you think about this goal and race day and having a chance to accomplish it, does it excite you? Do the butterflies show up? Do you feel more alive as a result? And if the answer is yes, it sounds like a pretty good goal. Now let's see, some other questions like, do we have the time to go after it? Is this the right time to go after it? There's a lot of different things we can ask, but we don't even get to those questions unless this is a goal that excites you. So when you're moving on, if you don't have something that excites you, that's okay. That is okay. You're tired. You just gave a great effort to get to here, or you just ended a goal that you had been going after, and now it's just time to recover and heal. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have something that you want to go after, you can train for nothing at all. I've been training for nothing at all for years. I mean, I very rarely race. I would love to race. I don't really have the opportunity that much anymore to race. I think I'm going to try to sneak in some more racing. But my point is, I just go out and I run because I know I will have a better day as a result of running today, and I will have a better tomorrow as a result of running today, which means I'm going to go out and, depending on the weather, my mood, what I have next, what I had just done, where I am, I will figure out a run to do. Sometimes it's screwing around on the trail. Sometimes it's doing something silly on the track. Sometimes it's going for an easy run. Sometimes it's finding a recovery run I can do that is a ridiculous route of the most obnoxious hills I can find, because who cares? That's what I want to do today. And I call it training for nothing, but obviously the hidden meaning here is sometimes nothing is something. And in that case, it is. So don't feel like you have to have this strict goal set. Like, oh, I need a race. Why? Why do you need a race to train for? Think of all of the things that training for a race give you. And I'm sure it's, like we mentioned at the beginning, it's purpose, it's focus, it's a schedule, it's a challenge. But then break down why do you like those things? What are the feelings you get out of it? I feel strong. I feel powerful. I feel confident. I feel challenged, which is great. Okay, well, you can do that on an individual basis. You can be just training for today. Instead of a 15K in 3 months, you can be training for today. What do you need to do today to feel relaxed or powerful or strong or confident or challenged? Is it a hilly run? Is it an easy run? Is it a treadmill run? Is it no run at all? Ask yourself. And you can do that every single day. Your training cycle can be one day and not 14, 16, or 18 weeks. So you can train for nothing at all. All right? Now, in all of this, I think it's also important to remember at this point, just to know moving on isn't always easy. It seems like it should. Like I just accomplished something or achieved something or went after something great, whether it worked out or not the way I wanted it to. Geez, all that work I put in is really impressive. Now, what's next? It seems like it should be super easy. It's not. And I would say more often than not, it's not. So just remember, it's okay if moving on feels like you're going nowhere. If you give yourself the opportunity to recover and heal, check back in, find inspiration, find motivation, you're not going nowhere. You're going somewhere. And yes, sometimes the best way to travel is to just drift. It is to wander around lost, because you will find new places. You will find where you need to go eventually. It will click. You'll suddenly realize, I needed this time to drift. I needed this time to be lost, to figure out what I was looking for. Because maybe you're not lost. Maybe you're just looking for something. And when you find it, guess what? You're exactly where you need to be, which may be the start of a new training cycle, a new goal. And moving on doesn't diminish what you did. I think that's another thing. We want to hold on sometimes to these training cycles or these experiences, and I get it. They're really powerful, and they mean a lot to us. That's one of the reasons why we get so nervous before race day or before we take on the challenge, because it matters to us. So it can be hard to let go. And I'm not saying you have to let go of it. You can keep it with you. You just want to make sure it's not holding you back, because the goal is progression, progress, movement forward. When you're moving on, it's moving on to somewhere that you want to be. And there can be this feeling of, well, that was so good. What's next can't possibly compare to what that was. Well, if you don't allow for something in the future to be better, well, it's going to be a hard time finding something better. And like I said, that does not diminish what you had. It's just what you had, you're never going to have again. It's going to be something different. Hopefully, it's better in other ways, but what you experienced may be the best you ever experienced in the way you experienced it. But you, at every new starting line, are a new version of you. And you, once you have finished training for something, or attempted something, or achieved or accomplished something, you are a different version of you. Every finish line you cross, a different version of you. The athlete that you were on the starting line, you will never be again. The training cycle you just went through, you will never go through again. You may have training cycles that rhyme with this past one, but they will never repeat. You've heard the line, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. It's the same thing for you and me and races and runs and training cycles, which is why we're always moving on, whether we realize it or not. The best thing we can do is support ourselves when we move on, and know that moving on does not diminish what we did. Moving on makes sure you don't diminish the present by living in the past. That's what I'm saying. So if you're struggling right now, moving on, that's okay. But you've also heard me say that struggling does not mean failure. It means successfully not giving up. So give yourself the time, give yourself the grace, give yourself the support to move on. And guess what? You'll move on. And when you do move on and you're ready to cross another starting line, guess what? I'll meet you there. So thank you for listening to episode 124, Moving On. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for rating and reviewing the podcast. And thank you for being a part of this community. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And I'll meet you on the next starting line. Thank you so much for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast today. And if you haven't already subscribed or set yourself as a follower to the podcast, I really hope you would. And make sure you check out the show notes, because in those show notes, you're going to find a link to Coach Bennett's newsletter and all the social media sites I'm on, like Instagram and Threads and Cameo and Blue Sky and Nope, not on that one anymore. So all the ones I am on, you're going to find it in the show notes, so check that out as well. And as always, thank you again for listening to Coach Bennett's podcast. Until next time, you keep taking care of yourself and each other.